My friend and Sky News host Paul Murray. Now, a vibe check too from you, Paul. This will be the first of perhaps two debates, but the second one, well, I mean, we're going to get through the first one first, right? And there's probably more at stake for Joe Biden here.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken him a week of preparation to work out how to stay up this late and how to be able to speak fluently for 2 minutes. So I know they've said it's prep, but I think that the debate prep is as much physical as it is psychological, mental, all the rest of it. Look, the reality is, if Joe Biden has a good night, there is a circuit breaker that gets him back into the race. But right now, forget your national polls. It's all about those swing states. Where Annalise is tonight in Georgia is a place that Trump won in 16, Biden won in 20, but according to the latest polls, Trump would win in 24. The key swing states, all bar one, currently Trump is leading. In most, he's leading by a big enough margin to be outside a margin of error. So for Biden, he has to have the big night to remind people about why he's the president, why he deserves another 4. For Trump, I think it's about closing the deal. If he doesn't melt down like he did in the first debate in 2020, if he sort of stays within his lanes, he's the one who can kind of have a boring night and ends up out in front because the media doesn't get the narrative of a soundbite they'll obsess on for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's right. And he knows how to feed the cycle as well. So even if this doesn't go well for him tonight, he'll just do another rally tomorrow and knock it all out of the park. Whereas Joe Biden, I mean, a win for him tonight, Paul, I think looks like if he looks like he has the cognitive ability, he doesn't have any kind of brain meltdown, and he looks like he's got energy. I think that's probably a win, right?
Geez, could we set the bar any lower?
Yeah, I know, the bar is low. Yeah, you're right, the bar is low.
Whether he lives or dies. No, look, the thing for, let's get to issues, right? As that lady was saying before, and again, clearly that's a bit of a pro-Trump room, but I'm saying it's a state that has swung back and forth. If it's about immigration, if it's about inflation, if it's about the economy, Trump wins by such a margin. And amazingly, in polling that includes the New York Times, Trump is trusted in the swing states on being a better defender of democracy than Biden is. So that gives you an idea that Biden's disapproval levels are higher than Trump's. So if you're trying to look at this for, which is the lesser of two evils, according to the current polls, according to the swing state calculation, that is all Trump. Now, Biden thinks that he can just say democracy, democracy, January 6th, criminal, 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 and he wins the debate. He'll win Twitter, he'll win the media. I can bet you right now that the snap poll of CNN people will probably conclude positively for Joe Biden. But it's about people trying to see, and I think when they're looking at this, the really basic is, okay, has Biden still got it, and has Trump learnt any lessons? We'll learn all of that together in about an hour.
Yeah, that's right. Has Biden still got it? But not just now. Has he got it for the next 4 years? So that's what will be weighing on voters' minds. And if you're voting for Biden, I think you're making the calculation that you're voting for the administration, not the man. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, 100%. You're backing in, the team, not the coach, not the captain, all the rest of it. And also, American elections in particular, because it's about turnout, it's not compulsory. It really is about saying, Obama in 2008 was sort of the exception to the rule, but essentially it's, join us to defeat the devil, right? I'm Batman, he's Joker, and then the other way around. Which is why you sort of get nonsense like, remember Michelle Obama would talk about vote like your life depends on it, or you get sort of the Steve Bannon victory or die. Settle down. But when you've turned it up to 11 and the conversation about Trump has been at 11 since day one, all of those people who backed him as he came down the escalator or backed him in 16 are never going to walk away from him because there's a sense of unfinished business.
Sure.
That said, if he goes too many times over the limit, I'll be fascinated to watch the dynamic of the microphones on and off. Not because I don't think they can sort of stick inside their lane, but inevitably there will just be a natural moment, and we've seen this in Sky News People's forums or again sort of UK debates. At some point in time, you're going to want to say BS and probably not that word. to the other person. But if your mic's off, well, then that's sort of part of the tension. Otherwise, literally, it's a tennis match and, I couldn't care less about those.
Yeah. I mean, it strips the interaction, the personal interaction between the two men, and they actually haven't been on the same stage since 2020. I mean, we see them all the time in their unique events. It's funny to get your head around that they actually are never in the same room. I mean, it's obvious, but it just is a good reminder as well. But Paulie, when you look at how you talk about non-compulsory voting and, you need to be motivated to get out and vote. What is the motivation this presidential election, do you think? What's the issue?
Well, I think it's about the economy, right? I think this is actually something that we've got to look at. So say, as you will see next week in the UK, cost of living inflation is one of the chief stated reasons to get rid of the government in the UK. In the US, inflation is down, but still compared to where it's been. So for Trump, he gets to be able to present himself as, hey, how good was it before COVID, right? I'm the pre-COVID president. Yes, lots of noise, mean tweets, all the rest of it, but, tax cuts, wages, all the rest of it, right? And he's been able to successfully, ram it down people's throats about what the perception of that economic time was versus Biden saying, I'm the rebuild guy and, don't knock over the sandcastle because we've worked so hard to build it. But if you're sitting in suburban America, and again, I'm going off the polls that go from the leftiest of news organisations to the most Republican that's out there, and it is inflation at the top of the tree. And again, it's a bit of a lesson to the people here. It doesn't matter what the national figures say. It doesn't matter what the headline figures say.
No.
What is the experience of the everyday person? And I think, again, that's where... So Trump, in my opinion, can seal the deal tonight by just showing, okay, all right, when push comes to shove, I can clip my wings a little bit. I don't have to go for the knockout punch each and every time. I need to remind people of things that are good. But there's two issues, actually, I wanted to focus in on about how Trump can make that message.
Yeah.
The Trump tax cuts, now in America, their system, as you know, is one where when you have things like tax cuts, they only go X number of years and you have to vote to make them permanent or vote to keep extending them. So all of those people who got a tax cut in Trump's first term, that's all about to run out in Biden's second or a chance to extend it for Trump's second term. So Trump's message is going to be, vote for me and I extend those, vote for him and they go up. Biden says the reason they have to go up is because too many rich people ended up getting the tax cuts, not enough normal people got the tax cuts. But again, the tax cut politics is so, we think it's ingrained here. It's in the DNA. And as for the southern border, Biden's going to have his talking points about there was a deal going through the Senate, rah. Reality is millions, literally millions of people have crossed across the border. So really, for Biden, he's going to sit there and say felon, threat to democracy. But in the swing states, as I said, the threat to democracy polling works against Biden. So
yeah, absolutely. I was there in Texas in the midterms, and the immigration debate is a live one. And we're talking about a border that is porous and is thousands of kilometres long. Paul, just before I let you go, you're a bit of a Rain Man when it comes to data. I know you look at these swing states. You're right into the numbers. You'd be looking at 6 or 7 swing states. Tell us, do you still think that Biden has a chance? Because we know that voters are tribal, very tribal. So let's narrow this down. Predictions are always tough, but at this point, before this debate, do you think that Biden will win the election, or do you think Trump will?
At this stage, Trump's in front. At this stage, Trump's in front, but let me tell you how Biden gets there.
But only just, right?
Oh, absolutely. So okay. So basically, let's look at a clock, make our way around. I don't know how that looks on TV, but it makes sense to me. All right. Michigan, Wisconsin, both of those will probably go blue. However, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. There we go. Or the other way around in the mirror.
Yep.
Those are all things that Trump is expecting to win. Now, Republicans don't normally win in Pennsylvania, and Republicans haven't won in Nevada for decades. So if you take those two and put them in the middle, but you say Arizona and Georgia, traditional Republican, then I think that's the two states. Yeah. Now, interestingly there, if you want to know why Nevada keeps coming up as something potentially for Trump, because he's promising not to tax tips. And in a service industry state like Nevada, Vegas in the middle of it, to have a policy that says you don't pay tax on your tips, guess what? Biden has to match that or he's going to lose Nevada, which means Pennsylvania.
So hang on, hasn't Trump just like invented an issue here? Is anyone's tips taxed?
Look, I don't know what the situation is. I'll be very honest with you. I don't know how it works.
Isn't that the whole point of tips?
Well, but but the thing is, I don't know declared income in the US, but I'm just saying about a talking point. Perhaps it's a talking point, but still, because I've really been trying to work out the Nevada thing, right? Like this is a Democrat stronghold, union cities, union towns that always end up going blue. They literally named the airport you fly into in Vegas, which I think you and I may be aware of, is named after a Democratic senator, right? It was such a blue. But that thing flipping is fascinating. So in terms of that prediction, I just repeat, right? About 6 states that matter. You can give 2 to Biden. You can give 4 to Trump at this stage. But if Nevada and Pennsylvania, watch those polls. Currently, Trump is outside of margin of error on both of those. If they move, Biden moves.
All right, we've been trying to work out Vegas for absolutely years. A study tour might be required, Paul. We'll leave it there.
Great
we'll see you soon.
See ya.
I thought you might like that. We'll see you a little later on.